today that helped some of y'all out. I know it helped Miss Clapp out, but I do hope it's helped some of y'all out going over those few problems that we did. All right, now today when we pull up these problems, not only do I want you to do it by hand, but I want you to do it on the calculator. I pulled 2 or 3 problems out of the good book, which was the Sullivan book, or I think it was Sullivan. I can't remember, but the book that's a good book that we're not using. And then I picked 2 problems today out of the book that sucks, which is the book that y'all are using. Okay, so let's see, where is it? All right, there's the first one. And of course, I've already done it because I was working to see exactly what they were wanting to do. But y'all go ahead and write that down. F of x is equal to negative 3x to the negative 2. I want you to do it by hand. Then I want you to do it on your calculator and see if you can get, I got to show you where it's going to. Hold on. From 2 to 6. I forgot to write that down. 2 to 6. Two to 6. And I put a couple of these problems on the test just so, or a couple, 3 or 4, so that way I think 10, let's say 10 times 3 is 30. And then 4 times 3 is 12. So everybody in this class should make above a 42 on the test. The lowest you can make is a 42. Because you got 4 or 5 elementary fundamental theorem of calculus problems like this. That's 4. That's 12 points. And then you got my 10 bonus questions, which is 30 points. 30 plus 12 is what? 42, Hubert. So everybody in here should make a minimum of 42 or above on the test. If you make below a 42, you don't what? You don't
need to come back.
Anybody. Exactly. You don't tell anybody because you're hanging a sign around your neck that says I'm an idiot. Okay? And I don't make fun of people and I don't judge people, but when people put a sign around their neck that says, please make fun of me, I do. And it's those people that, you really see them when they come out at Halloween. Halloween is the ones that really, they come out like the droves. Oh, look at me. I need the attention. And people that take their freaking pets in a building, that irritates the crap out of me. They bite me, that dog bites me, I'm not only sue the store, I'm going to sue the owner too. I hate dogs. Oh, look at my dog. Oh, look at my dog. I brought him into the store so people pay attention to me. Leave the dog outside in the car.
My God.
I ain't got no use in that. I ain't got no use in it whatsoever. Dog bites me, I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to sue the store too. Let me bring my bull in. I want to bring my service bull. I have PSD. I got a bull that I'm going to bring in. Is that okay? That's why I go to Tractor Supply before 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, the idiots come up there, and I can't handle it. I'm through bitching. I'm sorry. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, this should be about a 2. Everybody should be able to do this one by hand. There's 3 or 4 on the test I want you to do by hand. There's 3 or 4 that you can check or do with your calculator. I want you to be able to go between both of them on the first unit test. If you can't, then you suck. Okay? So, especially if you miss this one. Don't tell anybody. Oh, another thing. I will give an in-class test. It will be proctored, and it will be averaged in with your online test. So make sure you got that down. I will give you a in-class test. It won't be this week. It'll be next week. I'm not going to tell you what day it is because then you'll figure out 5 flat tires and you can't make it and all this bull crap. So I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be. And it will be proctored. Easily you'll have a proctor as well as Pendleton. And it'll average in with this online test. So if you make 100 on this test and you make 100 on the in-class test, you have 100 on the first test. The reason I did that was because I looked over a lot of the in-class tests last semester, and a lot of people just gapped it off, and that's why I decided to go to a proctored in-class test. All right, so this is an easy question. Let's go ahead and see what y'all come out with. Let's bring it down. I've never used this little black screen before, so I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody. Non-white screen. Okay, there we go. 6, 2, integration, negative 3x to the negative 2. First thing we want to do is pull out the constant. And remember, why do you fall back on the basics? If you ever get confused, fall back to the basics. Pull that negative 3 out, and then that leaves you with just what's inside, which is the negative x to the negative 2, and that's going to be x to the negative 1 over negative 1, and the x to the negative 1 over 1, right there, and that negative 1 times that negative 3 gives you what?
3.
So that's 3 over x. Because x to the negative 1, bring it down, becomes 3 over x. Evaluate at 6 and 2. You get 3 over 6 minus 9 over 6, because that was 3 over 1, 2 over 1, which makes it 9 over 6, whatever. I can't remember what I did. Anyway, the answer is negative 1. Okay? 3 over 6 minus 3 over 2. There we go. 3 over 2 turns into 9 over 6. Okay. Question there.
It would
Now,
have to be positive, right?
what?
It would have to be positive.
Well, the homework question as well as the test question is going to ask you for the negative 1. It may ask you what is the area, then you would say positive 1. Okay, but if they ask you to integrate and just give you the answer, that's negative 1. Again, it's also going to ask you to take your calculator and look at the graph. So we're going to take the calculator and we're going to look at the graph because it's going to ask you both on the homework as well as the test. So let's take our y is equal to, I'm going to go up here because it's easier to work, negative 3x to the negative 2. Don't check me on that. Graph, if you like it, probably causes a negative. Go to negative right there. There we go. Graph. And there's the function, upside down volcano, because it's 3 over x squared, but it's got a negative in front of it, so it flips the volcano over. And we're going to go from second, calculate, and go down to 7, and go from 2 to 6. So 2. Okay. I have to stand away from the board. 2. Sorry, I'm standing too close to the board, and if you stand too close to the board, it kind of messes it up. 2 to 6. Negative 1. Now, it's going to ask you some questions on the homework and the test. Why is it negative? Well, why, as I told you the other day, only in math and science, the positive and the negative tells us what? direction.
Which direction?
And it's telling us that the area is below the x what? It's below the x-axis. That's what the negative tells us. So just put a little note here, -1, and then circle the negative and say below the x-axis, and this is the area. So you would say -1 is a representation of the area of 1 below the x-axis. Okay? So that's that one. Again, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 basics, and then we're going to move into the business models that I assigned yesterday. And there is the other business model. I meant the other basics. So I'm going to let you do that one. I think I got 3. So go ahead and write that one down.
I have a question about the -1.
Yeah.
So, like, I get that you're saying it says which direction it goes in, but don't you like interpret if it's below the x-axis as it not being there? Like, you'd have -$1, not I have $1 just in the wrong direction?
Pretty much. But what they're also asking is, what is the area in the region?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's what they're asking. Now, the -1 comes into play if you have a symmetrical area right across from it. Then it would cancel each other out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you would use the -1 then. But then if I ask you a different context and I say, what's the area of both regions? You would say, oh, the area of both regions is 2.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you remember when you did vectors?
Yeah.
In physics, and you said +2 vector minus 1 vector is 1, because you got +2 and you got 1 going the opposite direction, so you end up with a resultant vector of 1. It's kind of the same thing here, only with area. What's the magnitude of one vector? 2. What's the magnitude of the other vector? 1. So the magnitude of both vectors, if you add them, is 3. But the negative tells you that you're going in the opposite direction, and that's the same thing here. If I ask you what the combined area is, and you have a -1 and a +1, you tell me that the combined area is 0, because they cancel each other out. If I ask you what the areas are under the curve, it's a different question. You say the area would be 2. You see what I'm saying? You got combined, and then you got what is the area. It's a different contextual question. So you got it again. And the reason they're trying to teach you this context more in business math than in business calculus than in engineering calculus is that the engineering calculus is hammering the vectors with your physics and the calculus with your areas. So the context is the same. All right? That's the combined area and the combined vector. But in business calculus, you don't do the combined. Sometimes you just say, okay, what's the area under this curve and what's the area under this curve, because you're dealing with vector fields more than you are in engineering, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay? So anyway, let me go to the next question. There we go. And bring in the little screen thing. So this question is giving us this. Now, there's only one reason I picked this question, and that is so you will remember to go to your basics. What basics? Pull out the what?
The constant.
The constant. What is the constant on the first term?
Is it -1.474?
That's the second term.
Oops. Oh,
9.255. You're going to pull that out front, and you're going to break it up into 2 what? Antiderivatives. That's the basics. If you get confused, go back to the basics.
Was there numbers that it gave to us, or did we have to find
Yes, right there, 6 to 11.
Sorry.
Yeah, read the question before you ask questions, Ms. Kugu. See, that's why you're going to fail. You're going to fail at life, because you won't read.
What?
That's an 11 if you can't read it. That's 6 to 11. So the first thing you should do on this problem is rewrite it. And that's what you should rewrite it. And I'm going back to the basics because if I get confused, I fall back on the basics. The two basics are pull out the constant and break it up. You got a sum of two terms. You can break it up into two what? Antiderivatives. On a scale from 1 to 10, this is about a 3 or a 4. Mr. Granger's got his high as a kite picture up today. I don't have the video on today.
Why is that?
I don't know. Evidently, he's watching TV or something.
I'm right here.
Huh?
I'm right here.
Oh, all I see is your picture.
I don't know why.
Maybe because, let me move this out of the way. Oh, let me move this out of the way. Somebody's got his picture. Oh well. It's a conspiracy. Did y'all watch news in the last day or two? Dang old 600 and, let's see. There's more jobs being created than there are people. Have y'all seen that?
What kind of jobs?
Just jobs, period. Jobs. Not like part-time McDonald's jobs like it was reported the last 8 years, but real jobs, I think. It's by the Department of Labor, so I'd have to do some research to find out what jobs, but dang on, y'all need to get on this, y'all need to hurry up and get this degree so y'all can go out and get some of them jobs. All right, pull out the 9.25, that leaves 1 over x. What's the antiderivative of 1 over x?
Oh.
Natural log of x. And the antiderivative of 1.474 is going to be 1.474x. So we take the derivative, the antiderivatives, and that gives us that right there. Now, go ahead, and I didn't have the calculator pulled up, so I didn't finish it. So I want you to do the calculation. Then I want you to do it on the calculator and see what you come up with and see if you can come up with the same answer or the same area. I'll be punching it in while y'all are doing that. Okay. Y is equal. Divided by x. I'll put that in parentheses because it ain't going to want to do that. Don't put it in parentheses. Second insert. Minus
It's gonna be an
1 point.
error.
I'm sorry, what?
Mine's gonna be an error. Nothing like that.
Well, hold on a minute. Let me finish. 1.474. And I'm just going to get the graph. Okay, there's what it looks like. That's what you should get. Okay. And I'm going to go from second function, calculate 7 from 6 to 11.
You need to change your window. It's too small.
What do it? Zoom. Let me go back to the graph. Oh, good God. Just go to the stupid thing. Go with zoom out.
Yeah, it's the same answer.
Did you do zoom out or what did you use?
I just pressed window and then changed the X max, and I just set it to 15.
Yeah, I'm just zoom out. On this calculator with this board, it just is too much trouble. Second, calculate 7. Really? 7, 6, enter, 11, enter. Negative 1.76. Write that down. Negative 1.76 is what we got in the calculator. What did y'all get when you did this over here?
Negative 1.76.
Okay, somebody did get 1.76. Okay. Now, again, most of the time on a Calc 2 test, they would ask for this answer. Now, what's that answer called right there?
Setting it up.
Setting it up, the setup answer. Write that down because sometimes they'll want just the setup answer. I mean, you take the antiderivative and you set it up, but you don't go through the tedious math. Okay? So on a scale from 1 to 10, that's about a 3, 4. And then let's go over one more. Basic. Let's see, is that it? Okay. Yeah. All right, that's one. That's a business, but it's basic. It's business, but it's basic. And I didn't even attempt to do it because I didn't have my calculator pulled up. So go ahead and work both ways. Now, I would highly suggest that you put this on the top of a piece of notebook paper because chances are it's going to take, the tedious math is going to take 90% of the paper or about 40%, 50% of the paper. To do it by hand and at least set it up. I don't think we're going to go through the math. That's just whips and chains. That's just punishment. 940, 602. 940, 602. X squared plus 19,269.3. Really weird. Three 269.3 x minus 0.3. Make sure I got everything there. 9, 6, yeah. So let's look at the graph. And we're going to probably have to do a zoom fit. Or a zoom, let's see, which one is it I use?
Zoom
Zoom fit,
What is your
0.
0.078.
There it is.
That's what I got for 0.077.
Okay, it's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the
Y'all get that? Did y'all get that graph? Huh?
No.
Yep, it should
Mine
look
looks like
like
it's-
a parabola.
That's what I got.
Mine looks like it's going straight down. It's probably because it's just so close into it. I mean,
Why do I not? Oh, I see why.
Well, when I do that,
Second insert plus.
but
We did 6 times.
There. Now let's see what it looks like.
that might be the difference.
Zoom. 9.
Yeah. So,
Okay, still not doing.
I think it was
no, and it
I
won't-
think it's there. It's just you're so far zoomed out. Like the parameters are 0 and 0.003. So you need to have your x
Oh gosh,
distance
we gotta blow
from
it up.
negative 1 to 1.
Yeah, we gotta blow it up. So it should do it with zoom fit.
You put 0. It 0 is the.
I mean, you can still calculate it from there. It might not show the shading part, but it'll give you the answer.
Okay. I've only got 2 ears, but that doesn't mean I can hear 3 people at the same time. All right. I realize that it's smaller, but zoom fit should pull that in.
You put zoom 9, and that's not zoom fit. It was 0.
Okay, let me check it because this calculator on this screen is about aggravating. 940 t squared.
I'm pretty good.
I did that.
Is that not right?
I don't know.
Did I put everything in there correctly? All right. Graph.
Trusting test because
Doesn't it?
I don't know. I would just put in a fraction of all six.
Yeah.
Oh. That's why I'm just okay.
Well, I must have, did I not hit? I hit, I know what I hit. I hit zoom stat. That's what I hit. I guess that's what you were telling me. All right, sorry. I was hitting zoom stat. All right, so let's go second, 7, and 0 to 0.003. Oh. Now, should you be thanking your lucky stars that you have a calculator?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, if Miss Clapp was here, I would tell her this is what the calculator is used for. Okay. You don't want to deal with 0.003 plugging it through all of that mess. You don't want to do it. Heck, you don't even want to take the dadgum derivative, antiderivative, because it's going to be a cluster also, because you got all them BA numbers. So in the business world, you're going to see a lot of this. So we got negative 940,602 t to the third over 3 plus 19,269.3 t squared over 2 minus 0.3 t. Evaluated at 0 and 0.003. And somebody take 94602 and divide it by 3. What do you get?
Negative 3,135.
T cubed. And do this one.
9634.65.
T squared minus 0.3 t. Evaluated at 0 and 0.003. And that is your setup answer.
5.34.
What?
I mean, not point. That first one, instead of that one, it should be a 4.
No, on the homework, you have to
9634.
One up.
Yeah.
And we're 3135. No, the one, it's the
Right
T
here?
cube. Yeah, that should be a 4 instead of a 1 at the end.
Okay, thank you. And if you was to calculate that out, you should come up with 0.077. All right, so there's 3 basic problems. Basic antiderivative definition of calculus. So, and I think I put 4 or 5 on the test. So if you can do those 3 problems and you can do the homework on business models and the rest of the homework without any problems, you've got that part of the test covered, which is probably 5 questions. Again, 5 times 3 is 15. With the bonus questions, which is 30, that's 45. 45, everybody should make a 50 on the test. Yes?
On the in-class test, are you gonna give us problems like this? Are you gonna want us to work all of it out, or just?
I'm gonna want to set up on some. I want to set up like this one would be set up.
Okay, but you'll tell us.
On the first couple, I would want you to actually give me the area.
Okay, so you tell us show your work. And
Yes, I need to see the work.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
not calculators.
Okay.
I'll tell you which one to use your calculator on. If I want the answer on this one, I'll tell you to use your calculator, and I have to see the setup, and then I have to see the calculator.
Okay.
All right. But I'll explain that in the in-class test. I'll explain that.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Okay, here we go. All right, there is a business question, find the average. Now, this one is a hybrid. You want to set the problem up, then use your calculator to find the area, and then multiply by the number so you can get your point. And then I want you to plug in and get your your x. Or you can, well, yeah, use the x. The in-class test will probably consist of 5 questions. Notice where this is number 4. So I'm giving you an example of what the in-class test will look like. So those people that are not here, make sure you tell them that next week we're going to have an in-class test. It's either going to be Tuesday or Thursday. Or what day is today?
Monday, Wednesday.
Monday or Wednesday. It's going to be Monday or Wednesday.
I don't know about that. Ugh. Just tell them you're not going to be here. Tell them you're not going to be here. Tell them you're not going to be here.
Feel bad for Caitlin because Caitlin won't be back until Tuesday night.
She better hope it's on Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, what happened to Mr. Frederick? Mr. Frederick must live in BFE somewhere. Squirrel must have ate the modem or something.
I'm still here.
Wires. Mr. Frederick, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, well, you don't have a video feed. It just took the picture or the video. Or
You're
Mr.
all
Granger
set.
made a noise and kicked you out of the video, and now we got his. He's just half asleep. He's not high. He's just half asleep now. But you're there, Mr. Frederick?
Yeah, and can you see me now?
No.
There
see,
you are.
That's what's happening. What's happening is, and now he kicked Mr. Miller out, which Mr. Miller don't. He's high all the time, so he don't never show his video.
That's correct.
Let me do his speaker view.
You don't have to stay at home to be high, man.
Huh?
Nothing. Morning, Hubert.
Morning, pothead. All right.
That's why you're going to Colorado.
Yeah, go to Colorado. Be out there with all them people. I ain't got no use of no pothead. Period. End up living with your parents when you're 37 years old, living in a basement. And they have to sue you to get you to move out. Y'all seen that cat?
What cat?
The parents had to sue the guy to
Oh,
get
to get
him
him
to
out of the
move out
house.
of the house. He was 37-year-old
hilarious.
pothead with no job.
That's funny, man.
Jesus.
Dude, I saw something on Twitter today. A random cat just gave birth to kittens under this guy's bed. He had never seen the cat before. It's pretty wild.
What does that have to do with the guy living in the basement?
How old was the guy?
37.
Damn, dude, you should have been going.
37-year-old pothead.
You should have been
So
going
you
17
girls,
years
Miss
ago.
Nethercutt, y'all got it. That's a prize. Y'all need to go after something like that. I know you're married, but you know, that's a prize, buddy. 37-year-old pothead living in his parents, and parents have to sue him to get him. Oh no, Hubie wouldn't have to sue him. Hubie just pick him up by his dadgum pants and throw him out. Lock the dadgum door. They don't tough love.
Arrested for trespassing.
What?
I mean, but think about how much money he saved by living there. This is what he spent on pot.
I mean, yeah.
He probably had a lot of pot.
Obviously,
Yeah.
he's just trying to be economic about his use.
That's why Hubie ain't got no use for potheads. All right,
Who?
Hubie.
Oh,
Me.
Hubert. Okay.
Okay, second
It's not
person.
Hubie?
Hang on, nickname. All right, here we go. We're gonna set it up. Just to set it up, that's gonna be 0.0386 t to the fourth over 4. Now I realize this is average. I know I got to take the 0 to 11 is 1/11. We're going to multiply that by 1/11, but I'm just going to go ahead and set up the integral. So t to the fourth over 4 minus 0.498 t to the third over 3 plus 696 t squared over 2 plus 43.2 t. Now let's go ahead and simplify that. Calculator drill team, what's 0.0386 divided by 4?
0.0965.
0.00965. Everybody got that? T to the fourth. All right, what about this one? Minus 0.166 t to the third plus 2.848 t squared plus 43.2 t evaluated at 0, 11. I'm going to put that in brackets. And then what out front? 1 over what? Why 1 over 11?
That's for the time period between 1990 and 2001.
Thank you. Now there's two things there. The setup for the antiderivative is 0.00965 t to the fourth, blah, 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 evaluated at 0 and 11. That, you can do that in your calculator to get the area. But then you take the 1/11th and you multiply it by that, And that's the two-part question. So they might ask you for two parts. The area times the area right here. They're going to multiply that times area, and then they might ask you for the setup, and the setup is right here. So take your handy dandy calculator and let's go ahead and type that in. It'll take me probably 30 to 45 minutes to type this one in because of this contraption. It'd be easier if I just had a calculator. 0.0386 t squared, 0.0386 x squared minus 0.498 minus 0.498 x
Before you multiply.
squared. That should be a 3.
Mine actually
0.49x squared
did the
plus.
Did evaluate it at 0 and 1?
I just evaluated it 11 and 0 would be 0.
What are y'all talking about?
I'm just confused why you evaluated it at 0 and 11 instead of 2001 and 1990.
Time frame.
Because on the chart, the question will state that T is years from what? 1990. That's what it'll say. You need to add that in there. Who asked that question? I don't know who asked it.
That was Alexis.
Okay. I forgot to put that in there. I just didn't want to write down the whole question because it was so wordy. If you haven't noticed yet, most of your questions in the business world are going to be from a certain year, meaning 0. Okay?
Okay.
So that's where 0 comes from. 0
So
is 1990, 2011. It should be 11, isn't it? 1990, 2010, yeah. Okay? So the 111, let me finish typing this in. 5.9696, 5.696x plus 43.2 plus 43.2, and I'm just going to graph it. Of course, it's going to be all zoom 0. Okay, I got to wait. Zoom 0. There's the function. It is a cubic function, so it's going to look like that. And then from 0, let's go ahead and find the area. So second, calculate 7 from 0 to 11. Sorry. Try it again. Second, calculate 7 from 0 to 11. Thing like pulling hens to. It's just aggravating. All right, somebody write that down. What is that? 740? Did y'all get 740?
I worked it out by hand and I got that, but I can't get it on my calculator.
I didn't know.
I just got it, and if I can get it on that complicated thing, you should be able to get it. Try it again.
You put in the first one, right? So like where it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what you put in, because you got to take the derivative of this. I mean, the antiderivative. So it'll do that, but that's what you put in. Make sure that when you use a negative, like a -3, you punch in the 1 down at the bottom. If you punch in a minus, you use this minus right beside the 6. Sometimes it has a conniption if you use interchangeable.
Wait, which one are you putting in?
Top one. Now, what are you going to do with that area? I'm going to put the area right here. That area is 740.15. What are you going to do with that area? Multiply it by what?
11.
1 over what?
11 can just divide by 11.
Somebody take that number and divide it by 11. What do you get? Hey, it's not that complicated. Calculator drill team should do that in like 5.3 nanoseconds.
67.28.
Nana.
Or 67.29.
7.29?
67.29.
67.29, and that is your Y. Okay? So the best thing to do there, I'd go into the window, or not the window, the table, and I'd find 67.3 or 67.28 or 67.29 and find your X. That's the easiest way to do it, because you don't want to try to do that up here, because you're going to have to factor out a T, and then you're going to have to use the reverse FOIL or completing the square. I wouldn't want to do that. So, and the question will probably just ask for the Y anyway, because that's what the usual answer is. The Y is the 67.29, because that represents where you have the uniform distribution, or the have no variance.
For the setup answer part, would you be fine if we just divided that whole thing by 11 versus multiplying it by 1 over 11?
That's the same thing.
Right. You'd be fine with it just written the other way?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Multiplying by 1 over 11 is the same thing as dividing by 11.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shoot off.
Who's got a question?
My calculator's still at full.
Oh my gosh.
I got it by. Did I miss?
It looks right.
I got it right by hand.
You did?
Yeah.
It looks right to me.
But when I
What's it?
when I graph it, that's what my graph looks like.
Yeah, my graph doesn't look like yours.
Yeah, my graph doesn't. I don't even get these answers.
It is like a cow.
Yeah, my graph doesn't look like that either.
5.696.
Zoom out.
It's just that.
Zoom out just to make sure.
It was just.
Mine's not touching 0 though.
Okay,
Yeah,
now-
mine's like a lot higher.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine's above 0.
Yeah, I'm not even getting that answer. My answer is 5,016.948.
There.
I just have to zoom out.
No, yeah, zoom out will not all be. Whenever it gives you an error, you might want to zoom out once or twice, because the window may not be picking up the right coordinates. So you might want to zoom out. Who else was having a problem?
I did. Well, here's my question. If it's a plus 43.2, shouldn't it not be crossing at the 0 point, like at the origin? Your graph?
It's just the zooms are different. That's all. Like it looks like it's crossing right there.
The y-intercept is 43.2. Is that what you're asking?
I'll just zoom out.
Right.
But
But
you
your
can't go by
graph-
my graph, because my graph is so small. You'd have to pull it up. You can't go by my graph.
Did you not just do zoom fit? I pressed that
Good
and my
zoom
graph
fit,
looks
but it may
different.
not pick it up. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Over.
Hold on a second. If I do zoom fit, what is zoom fit? 0?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. It will put it in the window, but it may not, because it barely gets that in there. It may not pick up what you need. So that's
Okay.
why I said zoom out. That's all. So y is equal to our second trace, 7, from 0 to 11.
Let's see who it right.
Okay, it worked with her, but on hers, she did a zoom fit and it wouldn't pick it up. So she had to zoom out one time and it did it.
5 years to be one of the 5.
I don't know why.
I guess.
I'm not a calculator person, so I don't know why. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for your 1 over 11,
Yeah.
if it was 1995, would it be just 1 over 5?
Like we see where you got the 11 from. but
What's
what
the
about-
formula?
I have no idea.
Look it up. It's in your notes. I went over it.
Oh, it's 1 over B minus A.
Ding!
Oh, okay, that makes
That
sense.
makes more sense.
You know, you might want to put that on your notebook paper and put it in your notebook, and you can refer to it. We call that what? Notes? What a concept. I need to pass that on to other students.
Because it's a-
It's all right.
And that's the formula.
I'm being sarcastic. Y'all catch the sarcasm?
You just have to zoom out.
Yeah.
Numbers, and I rewrote it 3 times.
You have to go like Anderson if you have like a 101. Just fine for me.
Okay. Okay. Let me pull up the last one. I must not have wrote the last one down. Let me find it for a sec. Hold on a second, guys.
What was the average? I was like,
Did we do .038? Did that one,
That's
didn't
what
we?
we did.
Okay, here's one. This is number of accidents. I have no idea. This just comes from the homework. So,
minus 111.
Yeah,
Because
67.
and I tried to do y'all's homework for you so that way you don't have nothing to complain about. Even though some of y'all still complain. Negative f of x is equal to negative 100 x, or 100.6110x plus 3967.5573.
298.
And they want you to go from, okay, 1975 through 1977, 1975 through 1997, 1997 with X being from 1975. So 1975 would be like 0.
How many decimals did you take it out? I got 67.28615, but I'm using Clemson. You're supposed to take out 5 decimal places, or at least they teach you
I mean,
how.
you only did 2, so
Okay.
that's all I did. Well, on the test online, it'll probably tell you the decimal.
Okay. Like, did I just, like, put it in slightly wrong?
So what's 1997 minus 75?
22.
I'm sorry, what?
22.
22. So you're going from 0 to what?
22.
0 to 22.
Yeah, I just got mine too.
So, like,
So
I'm,
let us
like,
know.
using my phone, like, trying to get my calculator to work. It's so bad.
Another average problem.
I can't graph anything
So
out.
whatever your area is, you're going to multiply by 1 over what?
22.
22.
22.
Y'all catching on. I should write that down. Y'all should put it in your notebook.
Good luck.
I just said that later.
I also put some questions on there that ask you to graph the function. So those are 2 or 3 other questions that you should not miss. So I'm pretty sure everybody should make above a 50 on this test.
Yeah. 1,007. Or 50,000.
What'd you? I'm just saying if that's what.
Got 11,000. Or 111,000. And on the calculator right now, it's
Look, Multiplied by 22.
Or divided by 20.
There's the setup, and then multiplied by 122 would be the area. I'm sorry, the average. So what's 110,6110 divided by 2?
Negative 50.3055.
Okay, hold on. Negative what?
50.3055.
It was that wrong. Yeah, negative 100.6110, which I have on my paper.
You could actually do this one by hand, and it wouldn't be that difficult because zero's going to cancel out.
Because I didn't get it right this way.
Are you doing it?
Like
Run some VA numbers.
So once you get the answer on the calculator, you have to do that times 1 divided by 2,
make
right?
it a lot easier. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because I looked at that one originally.
So somebody give me the area of the function.
Like the total answer?
No, the area for this function, right?
Right. Well, X.
Okay, times 3.
I'm sorry, start over.
62,
62,
93,
93,
8,
8,
8.3,
2 8s or 1 8?
1,
0.3.
3986.
Check that, make sure I got it right.
That's 6.
62938.3986.
Thank you.
That's right.
And now that's the area. Divide that by 22.
28,
28,
60,
60.
0.8363.
And the answer, they may ask you to round to the nearest whole number because you're dealing with whole numbers on the Y and X axis, units per calls, cost unit, revenue, whatever. So you'd say 2861 or 2900 or whatever they ask you to round it to. So that's your answer. Question, gripe, complaint. Okay, so let's look. I'm not going to go through the test because it takes time to set these up. I just figured what I would do is go over 5 questions and let you look at the test. So let's go do that. Now, of course, y'all think I'm stupid and going to let y'all look at the same exact test that you're going to take? Y'all really think that?
And then we have.
I hope you don't think that.
Yeah, I was-
That are like.
Okay?
Go over
Not
that.
That's just it.
All right, so let's pull it up.
That's my thing, get it right.
Yeah.
For what?
What?
Yeah, we were just thinking you're a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're a nice guy.
Like,
Nice guy,
I think he
Hubert.
said it's like 15.
Let's go here.
Let's spell this like.
There they are. And y'all know what? If you go over here to the right side, what will it tell you?
Dude,
And it's due.
no way.
Wow, that's neat. So edit, we'll just go over A,
Okay, those are just the options. Okay.
preview.
Nothing's changed, right? We only have to take one. It takes the highest grade.
Yeah, still. But I'm going to take your highest grade and average it with your class test.
So you get all three.
So here's an example. There's number 1. Oh my, look over there. There's a bonus question. When is the last day of class for this semester?
June 7th.
I hope you don't get that one wrong.
Accurate.
I mean, you can definitely just pull it up on the.
Consider the following. There's the question we went over with the X. When is the week of exams?
I can't.
These are definitely, yeah, I got you.
Y'all think y'all can understand the pattern
Butter?
that there's only one possible what? Answer?
Right.
It's butter.
All right, look at that one. The airspeed of a small airplane during the first 25 seconds of takeoff can be modeled as blah, 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 blah. They ask you to find the area at 0 and 0.005. And then they tell you, look at the graph, and is it above, is it below They're asking you things about the graph. When is the best time to check gradebook? It is up to the student, but after most assignments have been what? Completed. The rate of change of a weight of a laboratory mouse, T weeks, T being between 1 and 15, after the beginning of an experiment can be modeled as blah, 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 blah. Evaluate. Find the antiderivative of this and run it through. And then what does the graph look like?
How much time do we have to take the test?
An hour and a half. I give y'all an extra basically 40 minutes. Because technically, you're only supposed to do 50 minutes, but I do an extra so that way nobody can whine about it. What does Webassign give me for a grade when I fail to complete the assignment, and what does that incomplete do to my final grade?
C's not wrong.
These are all, C is good. Where do these questions come from? They come from students. Why did my grade drop? I have no earthly idea. Dumbass.
You didn't do a fucking homework assignment.
A corporation's revenue flow rate can be modeled as, write that one down. We went over one like this because it was squared. Okay? And find the area, and it's going to ask you a little bit about the graph. What are the weights of assignments in Hubert's class? This is the first or second most missed question in my classes. Why? Because I put that 30, 30, 30 in there. Why is that not the answer?
Just not right.
Because it doesn't equal 100, yes. And people, live PD. All right, write this one down. The rate of change of temperature during the hour and a half after the beginning of a thunderstorm is given by 9.44 h to the third minus 15.43 h squared plus 17.33 h minus 9.82. Evaluate. Find the antiderivative and evaluate from 0 to 1.5. How do I know what my grade is in Hubert's class? I just meander through the semester and act like a pothead. Maybe go to gradebook in Webassign. Here's your sketching, graphing questions. You should be able to do, these questions on your graphing calculator. Now, they want you to find the area between two graphs. I'm not going to ask you to do that by hand because it's a pain. And plus, you really can't do much with the logarithms, so I just ask you to do it where? On your calculator. Remember me putting in the F1 minus, or whatever, Y1 minus Y2 and Y2 minus Y1? You remember me doing that?
Yep.
That's these questions right here.
I got a picture of all of it.
Why does Hubert not entertain the following topics at the end of the semester? Extra points. Will you give me extra points? Will you give me bonus points? Will you give me a bonus assignment? Or dropping more grades? Or dropping the final and dropping the lowest test grade and put it in the final? Why do I not do any of that stuff? Because I give you 3 chances at each test. And I also give you 10 of these questions on each test. I give you 30 points on every test. Because these questions usually average about 3 points apiece. Actually, it's because the Russians have made Hubert a communist. There's another one. Difference between two curves. Or area between two curves. 0 to 4. We did those the other day with y sub 2 minus y sub 1 or y sub 1 minus y sub x. What is Hubert's email and cell number? Another question that is missed the most. I do not understand this one being missed. I don't understand how you even missed this question. But this is no joke. I had a student last semester in Math 120 miss several. This student came to class with no book, no notebook, no paper, no pen. You just sit in class and look at the board all day. He missed these questions on the test, and he called a week after grade turn-in asking why his grade was, he had a B going into the final, or got B going into the final. What happened? Well, he didn't take the third test, the Unit 3 test. He made a 0. He said, I thought you replaced the final with the lowest test grade. I said, look at your notes. I said, bring your notebook to my class. I knew who he was. I said, bring your notebook to my office and let's look at the notes. Let's look at your handouts. Oh, no, that's all right. Click. Oh. Those are the people that live PD. They don't follow directions. And then they get in the real world, and when you fire them, what are they going to do? They're going to try to sue you.
Here's a fresh notebook. I haven't touched it yet.
Okay, if you miss this one, please put the Navy or the Air Force, please. Don't put the Army, please don't. I'll give you half credit if you give me Navy or Air Force. All right.
What was your MOS?
EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal.
Nice.
I'm all right with medication. Blew up stuff. All right.
Oh, badass.
I can show you how to make a landmine out of a Copenhagen can. All right.
Hey, that should be extra credit. Let's do that.
Watch it when you come to my house. Don't creep up on my house. You might step on something. All right. Here is the average. So write that one down because I don't want you to screw it up. Write down the whole question so that way you'll be ready for it. Just stop at 1990. Where output is measured in billions of dollars, and T is number since 1990. Now, we just did 2 of these questions, 2 or 3 of them. So you should not screw it up.
Yep, I definitely can't read that shit. You can't? No, camera shit. What's your number, man?
The range is different.
Dang old Copenhagen can, toothpick, dang old snap and pop, and dang old C4, dang old imitator.
Well, if you have, we need to make the C4. How do we do that?
Huh? I'm not telling you that because then you'll go and make some, and I'm not going to do that.
What?
You got like 4.6 or 7 already.
Dang old get some gunpowder if you can't make the C4. Just dang old get some gunpowder. Dang old throw some staples and some old BBs in there, and dang old fix it up right.
Yeah. Staples and some BBs.
Do not try this at home because you will blow your hand off. All right. You got it down? 0.0388 T cubed minus 0.492 T to the second plus 5.69. This is where you define, well, what does that say right here? Average.
Oh, we had a lot of Alex. Yeah, type in Alex, and I couldn't find it.
All right, write this one down. Number of general aviation aircraft. The reason I want you to write them down is when you do the homework tonight or tomorrow, or let's see, it's due like the 14th, so you'll wait till the 13th at 12 o'clock. When you're doing this on the 13th at 12 o'clock, after it's over with, you can at least try to match it up to your test. And when you got dang old Y, dang old, this is your X. See, they're showing you right here, dang old, cross it right there, dang old, wherever the intersection is. where's the intersection, and they tell you to bring it over here, 2810, where the intersection is. That's why you need the graphic. Okay, next one. On the basis of a data obtained from preliminary report by Geological Survey Team, it is estimated for that first 10 years of production, a certain oil well in Texas can be expected to produce oil at a rate of blah, 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 blah. Okay, remember the antiderivative of e to the power is e to the power. All right, so go back and look at your antiderivative of e. And again, how many years? Let's see, what does it say? T is the number of years after production, estimated the first 10 years of production. So 1 over 10 minus 0, which is 1 over 10.
What's the rate of yield? The rate of yield first expected to be equal.
Remember I told you X and Y. I want you to find X and Y.
Okay.
Look at the graph.
Gotcha.
Evaluate the definite, okay, I gave you a couple of easy questions, so don't screw these up. So you might want to write them down for those people that can break an anvil with a banana. Y'all might want to write these down. I'm not going to mention no names, especially at the Easley campus. 8x dx, antiderivative from 0 to 2. Think y'all can do those without messing them up? These are the 4 that I told you I gave you.
Do we have any of those guys on the in-class test?
No. I'm giving you all hard questions on the in-class test. All right?
I don't know if he's serious or not. Absolutely no idea.
6 and 2, 4 dV.
It's
So dx, it don't matter what dV. So 4x, 4 times 6 is 24. 24 minus 8 is what?
It's a problem.
16. There's the third one. Again, you shouldn't mess that one up. Break it up into 2. Pull out the negative 3 so you don't get confused. V squared over 2, 6x. And that should be what, there we go. V squared over 2, 6x, there we go. Or 6v or whatever. And, oh, I gave y'all more than 4. I thought I gave y'all 4. There's 4 and there's number 5. So go ahead and write 25 and 26 down. And I think the last one is 27.
Would it take it as a decimal or does it have to be a fraction?
I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Look how they're writing the answers, okay? That Miss Kubu just brought up something. Look how they're writing the answers. Got a whole number. Got a whole number. These are definite integrals. Whole number. Improper what? Improper what?
Fraction.
So you might want to type in what? Improper fraction. For the one person that's not listening to me and going to type in the decimal, you make people irritated. You make me irritated. Because I just told the whole class to write down the way that they're doing it. Improper, improper, improper. Okay, all these are improper, so I'll write it as a decimal. That way I can irritate everybody.
So, actually,
And there's the last one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 3 is what? 18 plus 30? 48. Everybody should make a 48 on this test. And you still have no clue what's going on. You still can make a 50 or a 48. Because I think maybe you could get one of these graphing ones right. Especially if you're on the calculator drill team. You should be able to get one of the graphing ones right.
You can get it right just by accident, really.
Exactly. You got a 25% chance. So,
pretty good.
You know, I think really, if you turn in below a 50 on this test, you really should not what? Tell anyone. Now, on the in-class test, I'm going to pull 5, probably 5 like we did today, and I may even put one of these graphing ones on there.
I wonder if he's not going to give any.
Okay? It'll be pretty
a couple
simple.
of the really easy ones, right?
No.
And then a couple. And
There's
then
a good one
of the
right
gimmies.
there. Number 15. Might want to write that one down. I wouldn't. If I was going to give you one of these on the in-class test, I would give you one with quadratics, because you're used to those, and make sure you can graph it. And on the in-class test, I want you to sketch the graph out. I want you to draw the parameters from 0 to 4. And in one like this, I'd probably let you do it by the calculator. So that way, some of y'all couldn't screw it up. Question, gripe, complaint. Now, I do have a few of y'all that can come to class. I would like for you to come to class next week, okay? I do have 2 of you that cannot come to class, or 3 of you that can't come to class. So when I do give the in-class test, I'm going to ask that you, I want you to scan it. Do you have capabilities of scanning and sending it to my email? Yes or no?
I can make that happen.
No, you're not one of those people. All right. Mr. Miller, can you do that?
I have no idea.
Say again?
Yeah. We should be able to.
You can scan it and send it to me email, right?
Probably.
Mr. Granger, can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Nevicut, can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Frederick, are you going to be here next week?
Yeah. Something to watch. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I've got that taken care of. Easily, you will have a proctor to make sure that y'all just have a piece of paper and a calculator in front of you. Same thing for Pendleton. Any questions? I'm not going to tell you today because that's the day you're going to pick to have 5 flat tires. I'm not going to do that. So you're just going to have to roll the dice. And if you don't make it, that's a 0. All right. Any other questions? All right. Y'all have a good day. Get these homework done. Get these tests done. And I'll see y'all Monday. Letting y'all out today. I'm letting y'all out early. How early?
Appreciate it.
Something like that. Yes.
You guys later.
Hear it? I'm kind of going to be in Mexico next week.
Okay, well, you get a 0.